One arrow, one hill, one afternoon. That is all it took to erase an entire ruling class, to reshape a language, and redirect the course of Western civilization. In the cold winter, a king who hadn't slept in weeks stood on a ridge with exhausted men and made a choice that would cost him everything. He could have waited. He could have starved his enemy out, but he did not. And the reason you're hearing these words in English is because of what happened next. This is the Battle of Hastings, the strategy, the mistakes, and the moment it all fell apart. England in the year of our Lord 1066 was a kingdom both united and unsettled. Its laws were old, its customs deeply rooted, yet its crown had passed too swiftly from one head to another. Edward, called the Confessor, lay dead without an heir, and the realm, so long accustomed to strong kingship, was forced to choose. Harold Godwinson, Earl of Wessex, was chosen by the Council of Nobles and crowned within a day of Edward's burial. His claim rested not upon blood alone, but upon acceptance by church, by law, and by men who mattered. Yet beyond the Channel stood William, Duke of Normandy, who believed by a promise, by oath, and by papal favor that the crown was his by right. Between these two men lay the narrow sea, the broad question of legitimacy and the final judgment of arms. Harold Godwinson did not meet William at leisure. Weeks later, another invader had come, Harold of Norway, landing in the north with a seasoned army. Harold Godwinson marched swiftly from the south, surprised and destroyed that host at Stamford Bridge. Victory was complete, but costly. Men fell, horses were spent, and time, the one resource no king may summon, was lost. When news had came that William had landed at Pevensey, Harold turned south once again. I have not rested since the crown touched my brow. The kingdom does not pause for coronations, nor does fate consider fatigue. We marched near 200 miles in less than a fortnight. Some say I should have waited, called more men, starved the invader, and let winter do its work. But a king who hides while his land burns is already defeated. I chose the hill because it offered what I lacked: defense. Senlac Hill, later called Battle, rose gently but decisively above the surrounding land. Its slope favored defenders, its flanks protected by woodland and marsh. Harold Godwinson placed his army at the crest, forming a continuous shield wall, a tactic long practiced by Anglo-Saxon armies. At the front stood the housecarls, professional warriors bound to the king, armed with long-handed Danish axes capable of shattering shields and killing horses with a single blow. Behind them stood the fjord, local levies summoned for service, brave but unevenly trained. The English army was almost entirely infantry. It had a few archers and no cavalry to speak of. Harold's strategy was therefore fixed: hold the line, break the enemy upon it, and let the hill do the work of horses. William of Normandy had prepared for this moment for months. His army was not merely large, but organized. He had drawn men from Normandy, Brittany, Flanders, and beyond, promising land and reward. Crucially, he had secured the support of the papacy, lending his cause religious legitimacy. His force was divided deliberately into three arms. I have not crossed the sea to gamble. I have crossed it to apply pressure until something gives. They stand upon a hill because they must, and I will take it because I can. William's army consisted of archers to weaken and disrupt the enemy line, infantry to engage and fix the defenders in place, and cavalry armored knights whose mobility and shock could exploit any weakness. This combined arms approach was advanced by contemporary standards. William's intent was not a single charge, but a series of coordinated assaults, each testing the English line for cracks. The battle began in the morning hours of the 14th of October 1066. William advanced uphill, a disadvantage he understood but accepted. The archers opened the fight, losing arrows towards the crest. "Shields up! Let the hill judge between us!" The first volleys were largely ineffective. Fired uphill, the arrows lost force and fell short or glanced off shields and helmets. The English shield wall remained intact. Norman infantry followed, only to meet the disciplined resistance of the housecarls. Axes rose and fell. Shields split. Men were cut down where they stood. The English line did not advance. It did not need to. By midday, pressure mounted. On the Norman left flank, composed largely of Breton troops, an assault failed. Confusion spread. Some began to withdraw. A rumor took hold that William himself had fallen.
Look at me! I live! And I will not be defeated by a rumor!
William rode amongst his men, restoring order. This movement marked a turning point, not because the English had won, but because William changed his approach. Observing that sections of the English line broke formation when they believed victory was near, William ordered controlled withdrawals. Whether planned from the start or adopted in response, the feigned retreat became a decisive tactic of the day. Norman units withdrew deliberately. English fieldmen, less disciplined than housecarls, pursued downhill. Once separated from the shield wall, they were vulnerable.
Hold your ground!
Again and again, Norman cavalry wheeled and counterattacked. Each time, the English lost men they could not replace. The shield wall grew thinner, not from collapse, but from erosion. The housecarls remained steadfast, but numbers matter even to courage. As afternoon waned, William altered his archery once more. The archers were ordered to fire in high arcs, allowing arrows to descend behind shields. This tactic exploited the density of the English formation. It was during this phase that King Harold was mortally wounded. Contemporary accounts differ. Some describe an arrow striking his eye. Others recount that Norman knights cut him down after he fell. What is certain is this: Harold died near his banner, and his death shattered the final coherence of English resistance. With Harold dead and his brothers fallen, command dissolved. The shield wall, maintained by discipline and loyalty, finally broke. Norman forces surged forward, overwhelming the remaining defenders. Pursuit continued into the failing light. English resistance ended not with surrender, but with exhaustion. The Battle of Hastings did not make William a king that day, but it made his coronation inevitable. Within weeks, the English resistance collapsed. On Christmas Day of 1066, William was crowned in Westminster Abbey. The consequences endured for centuries. A new ruling class, a transformed language, altered laws, and the reshaping of England's place in Europe. What began on a hill became a turning of history.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and consider subscribing. These stories are kept alive when they are shared. Thank you very much.